and won with 29 knockouts. Still to come tonight. Managed at 5'11", 44 wins in his career with 29 knockouts. His last 5 fights. Starts off with the win against Tarver, finishes with the split decision loss to Clinton Woods, the IBF champ. In fact, this fight is a #1 eliminator to fight Woods again. He's done so 3 times already. Chicago's Montell Griffin, 36 years old, 5'7", 174 3/4, 48-6, 30 career knockouts. The last 5 for Griffin. Notice the inactivity. He hasn't fought since he beat Norman Jones on our air in March 2006. Let's look at the light heavyweight rankings according to Ring Magazine. Glen Johnson, you see him there at #4. And on the second page, a new entry based on Wednesday night fights last week. And the stellar showing by Adrian Diaconou, he is now #10. Johnson and Griffin, they both have seen it all. They both have the skills to do it all. Now if they can just do as Teddy Atlas says, they'll be fine.
Some stormy weather here in Florida. Now Johnson, he loves that. He wants to get into that. But the style of Griffin, he would like to see calm seas. I'm going to play Johnson. Johnson's going to go get it. Against Griffin, who Saul's going to play, he's going to lay on the outside. He's going to look to counter. He keeps that left hand low. He looks to invite right hands so he can counter. Now, what he does to compensate, he puts his right hand over to block the right hand. I think it's up to Johnson. Show the right hand, get it out of the way. Bang, bang. Come back with the left hook. Look for that with Johnson to get a big win. We talked about how Griffin keeps that left hand really low. Well, guess what? Johnson has a habit with that left hand, but the opposite, believe it or not. He keeps it, Saul's going to play him, keeps it too high. 2 problems. 1, you got to bring it down to punch. And 2, when you keep it high like that, you lose your peripheral vision. Can't see on the side. Look for Griffin, a smart boxer. Take advantage of that. Jab, move to the side, and throw right hands. You can't see, you can't win.
What a reception for Glen Johnson here in South Florida. Originally from Jamaica, but he moved to Miami at age 14. This is home. 12th round title eliminator. Jorge Alonso is the referee.
All right, gentlemen, I spoke to both of you in the dressing room earlier tonight. Let me remind you, we're going to expect a clean fight from both of you. Watch your head and behind the head. We're not going to let that. Do not hit in the back. This is good here. This is good here. Let's go.
The Ring Experience is sponsored by Just for Men Hair Color. Plenty of experience for 2 15-year vets. Championship rounds, they've done that. Johnson, 92 championship rounds fought.
Griffin, while he's busy sliding and moving that head defensively, which is what he's a wizard at, he has been involved, Joe, in many head clashes on the inside. Matter of fact, cut over his left eye 2 fights ago. There's that right hand from the fight plan. You see it already, and there's a nice left hook and quick hands as Griffin goes to where you could expect him to go, on the outside, to try to use those quick hands and to try to use that slickness to create opportunities.
Plenty of jabs early on from Glen Johnson, and then 2 right hands that chopped down. Saw the left hook by Montell Griffin. So a good start to this 12-round fight.
If Griffin was a baseball player, he'd be Ozzie Smith, the great shortstop, the great defensive wizard from the St. Louis Cardinals. Griffin believes in defense. That's why he's still around, performing at 36 years of age and 14 years in this business.
Watch your head, Montell, watch your head.
And he believes in defense, setting up offense. Johnson believes in moving forward, getting in position, and working, body and head, and constantly putting pressure on his opponent. You know what I love about Johnson? just a solid guy. Nothing in one area great, but nothing bad.
One of those guys that you felt so happy for when it all paid off after all those years, Teddy.
Yeah, really, because as good as he's been in the ring, he's been even better outside the ring. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's an accident. You know, he fights the same as he lives. Solid.
Couple downward driving right hands have scored for Johnson in this round. You see Griffin trying to flick that jab off the hip.
Now, you know, it's easy for people to say, yeah, Johnson's busy. They put his hands on you. But look at his feet. It's not an accident that he's always in position to put his hands on you. He brings his feet. He's in good position. And with a guy like Griffin, if you didn't do that, if you didn't pay attention to that fundamental, you'd be short a lot of times and open for counters from Griffin. But Johnson does a good job of moving into position before he launches anything up top.
Fairly typical Glen Johnson first round. End of one. Teddy Atlas with you ringside for this light heavyweight title shot eliminator. Glen Johnson, white trunks gold trim. Montell Griffin, shorter man, white trunks black trim. Round number 2. In that first round, the punch track numbers look like this. Glen Johnson, 27 total punches landed out of 49 thrown. Montell Griffin, 11 landed out of 57 thrown.
Johnson shows and reminds you every time you watch him of how important and how underestimated a certain quality is. You know, we always look at the physical qualities of speed, power, brains, you know, flashy things that we can embrace, things we feel comfortable with. But how about the quality and talent of just being steady and dependable? Johnson masters that and uses that to master his opponents, and has used that, quite honestly, to be a world champion.
Griffin double jab, gets out the side door, moves well, flicks that jab off the hip, has that unique defensive posture of crossing that right hand over to the left side of his face.
And again, what you see is what you will get. A steady forward stream from Johnson, but nothing wasted, nothing reckless. Brings his feet, gets in position, covers real well, takes care of defense. And when he gets in position, he finds the spots, upstairs and downstairs. Griffin always looking to get a little space as he pushes off. Looking to take advantage of any mistakes that might be made by his opponent, in this case Johnson. But Johnson not leaving space, not reaching in, and that's what Griffin wants you to do. Reach in, get frustrated a little bit, but Johnson has none of it as he brings his feet with his upper body. Again, Griffin on the outside. His thing is to make you miss, try to counter back, pick you off coming in, and do that. Pick spots, get in and get out.
Good moment there.
The work done by Johnson will be when he gets to where he gets, in close. The work by Griffin will be done right there as Johnson's trying to get to where he wants to get.
Watch your head, Montell, all right? Watch your head.
Griffin does it as you come in, as he does a good job right there.
We come to the end of this second round. You see Griffin getting off with a combination. We want to tell you,
going from Chad Pennington right down the line. They're all gentlemen, they're great guys. And it's been nice. You know, it's been fun. It's been a little bit different, working with a lot of big guys and working on the mental parts, the technical parts, the mental parts. I mean, it's all because of Mangini. Mangini's a guy that is a true teacher. And a true teacher is a guy that doesn't belong or doesn't believe just in physical abilities, but taking those physical abilities and using any parallels, any help he can to improve them, and understanding how important the mental psyche is. And we've been just finding some parallels, you know, with getting the hands a little faster, using some drills to get the hands faster and get the feet a little fleeter.
Seeing some fleet feet and fast hands from Montell Griffin to open up this third round. He's in the white trunks with the black trim. Two former light heavyweight titleists meeting up here in the autumn of their career. A very important fight for both men. They both feel very confident that they can get back to the top. But that would have to have a win tonight included into that equation. Saw some potential heavyweight prospects there in that footage with the Jets, Teddy.
And you got a lot of big guys out on that field. And the most important thing is I think they're having fun with it, and I'm enjoying being there with them.
You see that tomorrow on Outside the Lines. Teddy Atlas and the Jets. Montell Griffin came alive a bit in that second round.
Again, you see the contrasting styles, and Griffin is capable of switching to the southpaw stance if he needs to get an advantage any way he can. But Johnson always pressing forward. I think he would help himself right there, pressing forward behind the jab. You know, you have a snowplow here in pads. The plow has to do the work. Otherwise, the truck will get stuck in that snow. Well, if you're going to press forward with a counterpuncher like Griffin, you better have a plow or a jab. Johnson needs to employ that jab, I think, on his way in a little bit more to clear the way. And again, contrasting styles. Griffin on the outside, looking to use his quicker hands, and he does have quicker hands, to pot shot a little bit, Joe, to maneuver around a little bit. And if he can, to use defense to make Johnson miss and then make him pay.
Missed with the uppercut, came with the left hook to the body, and then Johnson fought him when he went out to the side. Been driving down that right hand time and time again when Griffin ducks low. And he can get very, very low, by the way, Montell Griffin. He's only 5'7", and stylistically he has that tendency to dip.
Johnson would serve himself not only well behind the jab, but to go to the body. When you got a man like Griffin who makes you miss moving that head, you want to go to that body, slow down that head movement.
Johnson and Griffin, good main event on Wednesday night fights. That's it. Getting set for round 4 of our main event. And we hope you will get set to join us for Friday night fights. Our main event will be Zahir Rahim and Cristobal Cruz, a good lightweight battle from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Plus, in studio with Brian Kenny on Friday night will be super middleweight world champion Joe Calzaghe. Round 4. Punch track numbers, the average punches landed. First round, Johnson landed 27. Last 2 rounds, 27 the average. Griffin has picked it up a bit. Teddy Atlas's scorecard through 3. 2 rounds to 1 for Montell Griffin.
Again, if you're back of Johnson and you could yell out a couple of words of advice, I think the 2 you would yell would be jab and body. Press behind the jab so that don't happen. You don't get picked off by the quicker-handed Griffin on the way in, and go to the body as Johnson does. So you start to take those wheels away from Griffin and some of that elusiveness away from him. When there's space, those quick hands show themselves on the side of Griffin. Watch, as good as Griffin is defensively, he does have a little bit of a predictability about him.
What's that, Teddy?
For the most part, he slips to his right on the first slip, right there.
He just did it against the jab of Johnson.
If you know a man, again, if you know a man's going to slip to that side, to his right, you can make a plan. And the plan, to me, for Johnson would be to land the right hand. So to do that, feint a little bit, get the movement of Griffin over on that right side that he does so often, and then shoot the right hand over, favoring that side. Again,
Glen Johnson picking up the work rate a bit here in the last 30 seconds.
Yes, he is. Watch again as Griffin defensively, the first move will be a move to his right side. I must add,
there's the right hand that followed that jab, and the head of Griffin was right in the path of it.
Something for the fans to follow. More importantly, something for Johnson to continue.
Good round by Glen Johnson. End of 4 at the Hard Rock.
There's some picture proof of the habit we talked about in the last round. Griffin, when he makes that first defensive move, it's to that side, to the right side. And by the end of that round, Johnson looked like he had it figured out a little bit when he landed a nice clean right hand.
That fourth round was the best round so far of the fight according to Punch Track for Glen Johnson. He had 39 connects, 27 to the head, 12 to the body. Let's look at the punches landed by round, and you can see that fourth round jumping off the sheet for Glen Johnson. Teddy Atlas's scorecard now, things evened up after Johnson's effort there, 2 rounds apiece. There's the jab from Glen Johnson.
Joe, I said that if you were allowed to and you were a supporter of Mr. Johnson, there's 2 words that you would want to yell: jab and body. I would add a 3rd word: feint. When Johnson feints Griffin at the right time, he gets a false move out of the defensive whiz who's always looking to make moves. And when he makes a false move and there's no punch there, then Johnson is free to time him.
No.
Griffin has made a career, a 14-year career, out of making you chase shadows. So what you want to do is give him a shadow. If you're Johnson, you want to feint him. Give him a shadow. Don't give him substance.
Let him out.
Don't give him a real punch. Give him the fake of a real punch. Get him to move, and then find him.
Griffin throws the 1-2 after backing up. Johnson, same old, same old. Now Griffin comes in with a left hook.
Good body shot by Johnson a moment ago.
And you can see a cut now that's opened up over the left eye of Montell Griffin. He complained just for a moment. He took his left glove up to that eye, and it now reveals blood coming from above that eye.
The same eye that we mentioned before this bout started that had been cut 2 fights ago.
Watch that elbow.
Johnson scores at the end of the 5th, a cut over Montell Griffin. Referee Jorge Alonso coming over and talking things over with both corners and explaining to them that the cut above the left eye of Montell Griffin was caused by an accidental blow. There it was right there, the elbow of Glen Johnson. Round number 6. Title eliminator for these 2 light heavyweights who have held world titles. Now in the later stages of their careers, both feel they still have plenty left. Punch Track numbers we are serving up. The average headshots landed the last 2 rounds, an edge to Glen Johnson, 22-14.
Let him go.
let him go, Montell. You hold him, you hold him.
The cut man in charge of stemming that flow of blood in the corner of Griffin is a good one. Jim Strickland.
Let him up, let him up. Step back, step back, step back.
Seems like he has things under control right now, but we're only a little over a minute into this sixth round. Right hand came over the top as Griffin once again slips to the right.
Both men's jab have been effective when they've used it and has been important to be used, both in different situations. Griffin,
Good right hand from Johnson.
Griffin on the outside in a defensive way, keeping Johnson away, and Johnson, as he comes forward, behind that jab.
Now the blood starting to stream down the left side of the face of Montell Griffin.
Good wrestling. Good wrestling. Step back. Step back. That's it. Let's go.
Johnson is like your mailman. He always comes, and he usually delivers. And it's when he gets close.
Griffin with a counter left hand on the inside, but as you said, Johnson keeps delivering. He works so hard, always has. Halfway point of a good main event. Glen Johnson, Montell Griffin on Wednesday Night Fights. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Fights here in South Florida. Attention will head elsewhere tomorrow night with the NBA playoffs on ESPN, 8 Eastern. Pistons Bulls. Pistons up in that series 3-2. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern with Kia NBA Shoot-Around. Round 7. Glen Johnson, white trunks, gold trim. Steady volume puncher, grinder against the boxing of the veteran Montell Griffin in the white trunks with the black trim.
Watch to see who gets to use that jab in their way. Griffin outside in a defensive way, trying to stem the tide. Johnson in an aggressive way, trying to get in.
Second round that Montell Griffin has had to deal with a cut above his left eye. It was caused by an elbow, an accidental foul in the 5th round. So if this fight is stopped because of that cut, we will go to the scorecards for a technical decision.
It looks like Johnson's the one who's always got his foot on the gas pedal, always working hard, coming forward, which he is. He makes his opponents work hard, staying away from him, and that shows up as the rounds go on.
Guys, watch your hits. Watch your head, Montell.
Johnson continues to work on the inside. He went with a left hand to the body and then a short right hand.
If you're a Griffin person, you don't mind seeing grabbing on the inside. Matter of fact, you want to see it. But you don't want to see it if you're a Johnson person. You want to see free hands and working those hands in close. Good body body
Good
shot.
body shot from Glen Johnson. He dug in with that left hand right on the belt line of Montell Griffin. And punch strike numbers, there are the body shot. You can see the advance for Johnson. And now his hometown crowd really rallying support here. They can feel the momentum that he's building on the inside.
That body work.
High break. Let's go. Good job.
As we were looking for earlier in the night, a good way of releasing some air from those tires of Griffin.
Let him up. Let
When
him
you
up.
start seeing Griffin stand in front of him a little bit more, it's no accident. It's because of the work of those body punches.
Good seventh round for Glen Johnson. We are joined ringside by the man who has appeared in more main events on Friday Night Fights and Wednesday Night Fights on ESPN than any other fighter. And I believe now you've been ringside with us more than any other guest, too, Irish Mickey Ward. All right, what do you got here? What do you see in front of you?
It's a tough fight. They're both banging real good. Glen Johnson just keeps his hands up high and he just keeps walking in. It's like two big pillows, you know.
I have a funny feeling he's the style you like. I have a funny feeling. If you had to pick these two guys, I know you respect them both. I have a funny feeling you would pick Johnson.
Yeah, pretty much. I would, yeah. That's my style pretty much. Towards the end, not towards the end, but I always kind of fought like that, so I have to go with him.
How about that body work we just saw from Johnson? I mean, you used to have guys who were quicker than you, who would move around, but they weren't quicker as the rounds got on. You started banging them down here.
Right, once you start banging that body, the hands drop, and you can come upstairs after, but it takes its toll. Right from the get-go, you just start working in, and it takes its toll.
Irish Mickey Ward ringside with us here on Wednesday Night Fights as we get ready to start round number 8 between Glen Johnson and Montell Griffin. Nick, you know, you gained headlines when everybody heard that you were friends with Arturo Gatti after the great trilogy, The War, and people were stunned. Wow, these guys are friends. They golf together. Now you're training Arturo Gatti for his July fight against Alfonso Gomez. Tell me about that experience.
Right, everything's going great. I'm down here now in Florida, Pompano Beach, and everything's going good. He's working hard. He's going to be in great shape for this fight, mentally, physically, so looking for a great fight, actually.
Montell Griffin.
I guess the question that the fans would want me to ask you, Mickey, is what's he got left? I mean, Arturo's been in so many wars, so many great moments for our fans. Does he have it left?
Teddy, I'll be honest with you, he does. I thought the same thing, but after seeing him in the gym and seeing the way he's at, his moods, he's in a good mood. I think he's going good. He's positive. He looks great. His legs look great. He looks perfect. I mean, sometimes you wonder how he keeps doing it, but he does it, and he has it.
Irish Mickey Ward with us ringside as Glen Johnson applies more pressure to Montell Griffin. Come to the halfway point of this 8th round. It's been a steady stream of coming forward from Glen Johnson. You get in the ring in there with Arturo?
No.
And we don't want you to.
No more getting hit.
You've done that enough, and you've done it as well as you could do it.
Indeed he did. Irish Mickey Ward, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Joe.
Best of luck training Arturo Gatti. I'm sure we'll visit with you before July comes around.
Good luck, Nick.
Double jab right hand from Glen Johnson.
Right. Hey. Don't do that. Let's go.
Blood from that left eye of Montell Griffin. He's been having to deal with that since the end of the 5th round.
Let him go. Let's go.
Pressure, although it's not seen by the eye, it's felt by the fighter. It's a silent, invisible killer. And Johnson has been using that pressure and with the body punches to start to wilt Griffin.
Another strong run by Glen Johnson. What a great exchange in the corner between Glen Johnson and Orlando Cuellar, his trainer. Orlando said to him, how's the gas tank? Is it full? Do you have more? He said, absolutely. He then said, you know, Bernard Hopkins, Antonio Tarver, Roy Jones are watching this. Glen Johnson responded, Hopkins doesn't want any of this. It's too much heat. They don't want any of this. Average punches landed last 3 rounds. Johnson in control, commanding 26-11 advantage. Teddy Atlas's scorecard as he continues to work. You see where he pulled away after the 5th round. That was even 78-75.
You know, that conversation that you just retraced for our listeners at home in the corner between Johnson and his cornerman.
Come on, you hold it now.
That speaks to a couple things. That doesn't just happen because you like to talk. It speaks to the confidence of Johnson. It speaks obviously to the way the flow of this fight is going, but it also speaks to how calm and how experienced Johnson is. You do not speak in a corner in those kind of concise terms unless you are relaxed in your workplace.
There is a little nick on the left brow of Glen Johnson. Nothing like the cut above the eye of Montell Griffin.
And there's that right hand that we talked about early on that's there for Johnson all night long as Griffin again. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And this old dog Griffin has used many tricks over the years to have a terrific career. But tonight, paying a price for some of those old tricks as he consistently makes that first defensive slip to his right. And the right hand has been there to find him on numerous occasions by Johnson.
Three-punch combination. First 2 didn't land, but the left to the body did.
Let him up, let him up. Let him up, let him up, let him up. Okay. Let him out. No holding.
We can see the damage that hooks and right hands do. But Griffin feeling the damage that pressure can do.
End of 9.
One day you find it's not business as
Also on that Wednesday night fight will be Bones Adams against the unbeaten Leon Bobo next week. 3 rounds to go here at the Hard Rock. Glen Johnson, can he keep that momentum going against the crafty veteran Montell Griffin?
Joe, I'd like to take a minute to send out a hello and our wishes to one of our biggest fans out there. He visited us on the set in Scranton, Pennsylvania. His name is Tim Brown. He's from Tennessee. Always watches the Wednesday and Friday night fights. He's having a fight of his own on his hands. And we just send out our wishes and our prayers to Tim Brown and his family.
Tim Brown, possibly one of the most knowledgeable boxing fans we've ever encountered. 2 minutes to go here in round 10. Griffin in search of more opportunities. Johnson creates many, but he just keeps coming. And has been so effective in the second half of this fight.
No, don't push him down. You push him. Don't push him down.
Big difference in the 2 jabs you've seen. You just saw a good example. The jab a moment ago from Griffin. Everyone who thinks all jabs are the same, think again. Intention that's behind the jab is what makes a jab. Griffin's jab was a keep him away, don't hit me type jab, a defensive jab. Johnson was a damaging, destructive jab saying, I'm coming in, I'm getting to you, and you saw it right there.
Had a thud to it. There are the jab numbers, 41% for Johnson, landing 109 so far on this night. You can see every so often Montell Griffin taking that right hand and trying to wipe away the blood coming from that cut above the left eye.
If a jab was a doorbell, Griffin's jab would be that melody that you play and you hear when there's a tune when you ring the doorbell. Johnson's would be that big knocker, the one that bangs against the wood.
They will have 6 minutes to figure it all out. Johnson and Griffin. It's been a good night on Wednesday night fights here at the Seminole Hard Rock. We saw the undefeated prospect Joe Green move forward. We saw Joel Julio get a first-round knockout win. And now we will see if Montell Griffin can pull this out against Glen Johnson, two former light heavyweight titleists. And we have seen Glen Johnson gain momentum in the second half of this fight. He has a 74-27 body connect advantage. And his work rate has been steady and consistent. Teddy Atlas's scorecard, 98-93 in favor of Johnson. That left hand may have strayed a little low. Punch track numbers, the total punches, you can see that Johnson much more efficient, landing 45%.
You can see that from time to time, that cut over the left eye of Griffin has bothered him, his vision, as he continually wipes at it with his left glove.
That happened in the 5th round due to an elbow.
That's where the placement of the cut means so much. If it's above the eye, obviously more of a problem as it runs into the eye. Below the eye, less of a problem.
Watch your head. Watch that head coming in.
Griffin with his moments. Combination from Johnson, went to the body. Griffin looking for opportunities to counter.
Again.
1-2, and then the left hand of the body.
That is what makes Johnson.
Double left hook.
Nothing sensational there. Nothing that lights up and grabs your attention in neon.
That did.
But plenty of steady work.
And this crowd here is loving it. Glen Johnson turning it on.
And the fight stopped by the corner of Griffin.
They have seen enough. Montell Griffin's corner stops it. He doesn't agree with that. Glen Johnson turns it on in the last 30 seconds of the 11th round and gets a very, very good-looking win.
Again, so often in this world, in athletics, in anything, we sometimes get our attention grabbed by what looks sensational, whether it's speed, whether it's strength, ability to pick up a great weight, ability to run a 100-yard dash in a scintillating time. But the ability that Johnson used tonight and has used throughout his career is an ability that sometimes cannot be weighed by those type qualities, cannot be seen like those qualities are seen. It's just an ability that shows itself in a consistent manner and in W's in the win column. A steadiness, a dependability, a consistency that is invaluable.
And that's exactly what Glen Johnson possesses. Let's steady stream of offense, and then this, Teddy.
Well, it started with the left hook. That right hand, as we talked about, of Griffin way over on his left side. So Johnson works the left hook and then works downstairs to the body, and you could see the body of Griffin starting to crumble a little bit as the corner steps up. And here's another look. Jab downstairs, right hand upstairs, and in the background, a compassionate corner man waving it off.
Brother Tim Griffin and Ricardo Muhammad in the corner along with Jim Strickland. And that was it. They had seen enough. Obviously, the cut had affected him, and then the nonstop work rate by Glen Johnson. Also, the way that Montell Griffin took those steps back and then fell forward. The Just for Men punch track numbers. The punches landed the last 5 rounds, 139 to 63. Let's make it official with Bob Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Hollywood, referee Jorge Alonso stops this bout at 2 minutes, 38 seconds of the 11th round. Your winner by TKO, Glen, the Road Warrior Johnson.
Glen Johnson